A spoken reflection. Title, What Does It Take for This to Be My Reality? Story, Letting Wonder Flow with Ease and Softness. Doggy, Dutch wanted to go to the winery. Not alone. He wanted to bring a friend who dances, a friend who belongs to a company of 7, and thought it would be fun to share the experience. At first, Dutch bristled. 7? Absolutely not. A very reasonable no rose up. The logistics, the cost, the very real math of the moment. Then he softly drifted, just a little, into wonder. And as he did, almost without trying, something softened. Instead of arguing with a no, he let his heart, spirit, and imagination fall into a daydream. What if this were easy? What if I could afford that? What if this were normal? Not as a demand, not as a claim, as wonder. And he let his wonder flow only as long as it felt easy. No forcing the fantasy. No clinging to the image. No disappointment when the daydream naturally passed. That daydream didn't change the current reality. 7 people still cost what 7 people cost. But wonder and softness moved, and the thought flowed his way with ease. Maybe manifesting doesn't mean denying limits. Maybe it means refusing to suffocate desire just because it hasn't arrived yet. Desire is not bad. Desire is hope. Desire is possibility. Desire is the gateway through which wonder enters and reality manifests. He noticed that desire wasn't a demand or something to correct. It was a spark of inspiration toward what could be. And that's when a very real question arrived, not as striving, not as shame, not as hustle. What would it take for this to be my reality? Not as a problem to solve, not as a plan to build, just a question he could sit beside. Softly, he noticed how often he'd been taught that when lack appears, the answer is to align higher, raise the vibration, shift the mindset, override the feeling. But bypassing his body didn't feel like honoring his humanity. So he wondered instead, what is the space between desire and having for me? In that moment, he imagined floating like a leaf, not being tossed by the tide, not forcing, not resisting, not pretending the ocean isn't real, just staying buoyant while being honest about where he is. Wonder came softly. Wonder flowed. Wonder moved on. And he noticed that ease wasn't about having everything now. It was about not being bruised by the space between wanting and having. 7 is still a no today. And that's okay. That's the now. And it's also information. And maybe even an invitation. Dutch is still going to the winery. He's just not getting dragged by the ocean on the way there. Maybe the work isn't collapsing the gap. Maybe it's learning how to live inside it, with wonder moving and softness intact.